Jesus came down here. He didn't have all of those worries and doubts. He was like, I don't know if I'm a good Jesus or not. Right. I don't know if I have power.
Yeah.
He didn't fear anybody. He saw the good in us. But here's where the miracle took place. People looked at Jesus and believed what he saw in them.
Right. Yeah.
And they received it and they were healed because they believed in that power. Same thing. He was just teaching us. He was a scientist and a life coach.
And then here's the other little ticker. So that'll go. And then I have these little branding things as well. So
you are such a pro.
You know, it's so funny. My first production company was called Silver Lining Videography. And when it came up, God's like, keep that name, as funny as and weird as it sounds. So there's a silver lining to all of this, is that I do know how to do all of this shit.
Oh my God.
Now
look at how you were prepared.
Do you see the little Jesus up in the corner?
Yes. Hi, guy. You're still looking over my shoulder.
So we got that one. We got that one. We got that one. And then these. And then just that. So I would make the banner go away. So that looks better.
After you do this, you will edit it, putting all those Jesuses and different things and different words up.
Yeah, I made them all in Canva. Yeah, and then brought them all over into StreamYard, which is so cool that you can do that. Now I don't have to build all this in post. Now it's just I just splice it all together with like iMovie.
That is so amazing. I'm gonna learn how to be like you when I grow up.
Oh, well, this is something I definitely want to teach, how to be a lazy influencer.
And make a lot of money doing it.
I mean, I'm wearing my robe, and for consistency and continuity, I will always be wearing my black robe for this podcast. And maybe some point someone will notice. I'm not going to tell anyone, but
hey, Molly, your robe is so cool. Can I buy? Do you have anywhere I could buy it from? And then you're
I have no idea where the fuck I got it. Maybe Target 10 years ago. I don't know, but exactly, I can influence you.
Right.
All right, bouncy leg video lady. Oh my gosh, don't do that. Okay, there we go. Got it. Let's see. I think your video looks fine. If you could tilt your screen down a little bit, like close it. Yeah, there you go. So you got more of you in the frame there. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Perfect. I think that looks good.
Okay.
Try not to be too jiggly because this will be a video on YouTube's at some point.
Okay. So, damn it. I wish I could sit at my desk, but no, we're going to be fine right here.
Do you have a little lap desk?
Yes.
You do? Cool. All right, cool.
Hold on 1 second.
Perfect. All right, let me change this then.
All right, we're ready. Hold on. Let me just put this thing up.
Cool. Welcome to the show.
I don't know. Is it too high?
No. I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
You tilt your screen. Yeah, perfect. I think it looks great. Yeah, tilt it a little bit more so you have a little less head space. Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to do a test run of the intro. If it doesn't work, I will re-record them, but I've been doing at least attempting. I don't know what episode number this is, so I haven't been mentioning that either.
Okay.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Frank. I'm your host, Molly Skye Brown. On today's episode, we have my beautiful friend, Latrice Levitt. She is just a beautiful friend of mine that I met, that we had a certain man in common. We were seeing the same guy, the same imaginary voice. Jesus been cheating on me. And I love our little adventure of how we came to know each other at our little pool at our complex. We live in a beautiful, luxurious village complex with restaurant and dining and shopping downstairs. And it's a mini Manhattan in just the outskirts of Orlando, Florida, and beautiful downtown Maitland. So now that we've given you our address, and
it's great to be quarantining here.
Good thing we're quarantined. The pool's locked. We can't see anyway. But I wanted to introduce my friend Latrice, and we're going to hear a little bit about her story. We're going to talk a little bit about race. I mean, it's so cliche. I got a Black girl on the show. Why wouldn't we talk about this?
Yay!
It's so spiritually bypassed. Right, exactly.
You're winning. You're winning.
Yeah, I need more. I need many more of my mocha friends to come onto the show, because it's pretty white vanilla right now. So I'm so happy to have you on the show, and I want all races and creeds to come on, and let's discuss how you live this life, how you get through it, how you do it, how you figure it out, how you learn from it, how you transcend it, how you heal it, how you share it. Let's walk in each other's shoes a bit. So the cliche topic is black and white and everything in between, spiritual bypassing through racism. And also, we got a lot of the, just because you're white doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah, girl.
So we got some things in the news going on with that. I know it's a hot topic right now because we're currently in quarantine. So we're recording this in the beginnings of May, just after the first week of May, and there was a fiasco that happened in Georgia in February, right? So this is a hot topic. I thought it was a perfect opportunity for her and I to come on the show and maybe not get too freaked out about that particular topic, but just the topic in general of love, acceptance, human compassion, and don't judge books by its covers or human beings by their shade of meat suit.
That's right.
It's incredibly.
For the record, I'm blue. This is the color I am. It's my favorite color. But yeah, and first of all, can I just say thank you? Thank you for inviting me to have a conversation with you. We manifested this in the pool. Remember? We were like, we should do a podcast together.
And you're welcome, sweetheart. Yes, I remember the pool. I remember the first time I saw you down there. I kept feeling Jesus say, she's going to be a friend. And I'm like,
that's right. That's right. Well, here's the thing. What's really great about the fact that we're having this topic, because we came together with the intention of developing a true, authentic relationship where we can deal with the hard topics, but in a light kind of way, in a way that, real truth can come to the table and we can solve problems. Maybe we can solve them, and then we can ask everybody else, what do you think about the problem Molly and I solved?
Right. Maybe, exactly.
Maybe you can think about it this way, because we got to look at
it from every angle in order to find the truth.
Absolutely.
And that's how the truth reveals itself, because you start to see, this doesn't add up and this doesn't add up. Oh, but all of it adds up together, and it makes a big story. And
yes. But Molly, you know what's so interesting?
What's that?
Can you believe that we as human beings, we have managed to send people to the moon? We have managed to watch videos on our cell phones. We have managed to do all types of extraordinary things, but we can't figure out how to get along because we look different.
Yeah, I know.
Don't you just wish that we grew up right here?
Yeah. Well, I did. I was never raised with a little bit, very, 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 very little though, because some of my best childhood friends were Black and Muslim, and I saw no color until someone identified it later, that I was like, oh no, we just naturally aligned and had a lot in common and enjoyed each other's company. And then I remember family members be like, why is she hanging out with all those multicolored kids or whatever, the minorities? Yes. And I was like, wow, I never saw it as that. They were friends. They were kind.
That's the indoctrination right there. Right. You were coming up against somebody's programming. You had not been programmed.
Right. I made someone uncomfortable with my lack of programming.
Why wasn't she programmed?
Right. And hurry, let's get her indoctrinated.
Right. Did you give her the blue pill? Or what pill is she taking?
Yeah, what pill has she taken?
That's right. Yeah, well, my situation was very different in the sense that I'm originally from the south side of Chicago, and I grew up on the south side of Chicago, which is predominantly Black, right?
Right.
And here's the thing about Chicago. Chicago has been trapped largely, not completely, but largely in a race war that happened in 1930s. So we get along, but we still remember.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it just kind of shows you what happens when you live your life looking back on the past and not healing whatever the issue was, whatever the conflict was. And it just gets to a point where then it goes into different areas. And, it's just one of those things that, like, right now, what I really want us to do is kind of learn how to think differently about all of this, because you can't control it. Right?
No, you can't control it.
I love the meat suit I'm in. You love the meat suit you're in. My suit doesn't take away your suit.
No, of course not. No. We need to stop dividing the suit, because then we could have a universal one-size-fits-all suit if we all just got along.
Right. Yeah. What would Jesus do, Molly? What
He would encourage us to create that one-size-fits-all suit.
I think Jesus looking at us and they're so stupid. They still didn't get it. I came down there to die for those damn people. This is what Jesus is saying.
I know.
This is why I'm not a minister, because this is how I talk about Jesus.
This is my dilemma as well.
This is it. First of all, Jesus was a scientist. Let's just bring
at a time of no science. Because I've asked him, I'm like, Jesus, what was the problem 2,000 years ago? And he's like, you want to know? No science. Couldn't prove it. Jesus doesn't say that, by the way.
I'm going to have so many people coming after me for this, but I love, no, here's the thing. I love Jesus. Christians sometimes confuse me. I'm trying to get on the same page with everyone.
Right.
I respect, but I'm confused because it's a lot of hypocrisy that I'm confused by. But here's what I really do believe. I think that when we all leave this planet and we don't have this thing, we're going to realize, oh, I get it. We all came from God, and he wanted us to learn who he was in these individual suits.
Right. Well, the only way we can know who we are is by knowing who he is, because we are of that. It's supposed to be an expression of it here. And if we don't know that part, we can be really lost in the desert for a really long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it brings us back to, you and I are having like this real sophisticated conversation around race, because we kind of reached a point where we looked at the way the world looks at race oftentimes, and we just consider it to be a waste of energy. It's not productive. Right. We're not
all have our
here.
problems. We all just got to get on the same page.
Absolutely. But then you see a situation where an innocent man is just taking a jog. I did it today. Like I walked around my favorite park. I been in a quarantine like the rest of the world for weeks. Right. I just wanted to go out and get some sun.
Sure.
And he didn't make it back to his apartment, his life, his loved ones because of this.
Oh, of harassment in the whitest of love colors. So I was doing some research on that, because we were trying to find like what was their motive, because they stalked him for a bit, like they trailed him for a bit. And I don't know how they ended up meeting up. I was starting to see some flashes of it being sent to me, but I still am doing some of my research to see that I can get the clearest picture of it. But he went into a construction site, this guy, and looked at it. That's not against the law. And a white guy went on, I think it was Instagram or YouTube or something, and posted a video of he ran 3.3 miles, whatever the distance was, with a television. And he said, because I was white, no one stopped me. And he said, and that man had nothing. He was in his neighborhood walked into a construction area, which you're allowed to do, didn't take anything. They found nothing on him, didn't vandalize the place. I can't tell you how many times as a white chick, I have freely walked into construction zones like, this looks cool. Who's buying this? Maybe I want one. Oh, that's nice. You're allowed to. And if it's trespassing, put some tape up. You don't have to kill people. Like, this was so uncalled for. And the defense of saying he was in a construction site, then it's like, oh, because he's black. That's the only way it's racist, because I've been in construction sites all the time.
But you know what, Molly? Here's what we have to truly understand, that there are some really mentally ill people.
I know. Okay? That they think they're vigilantes.
Absolutely. And for some reason, we can't call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's a mental
they're delusional, so they can't even see the racism. They think they're good guys.
Yes.
Their program is much of like how Hitler had the Nazis feeling about the Jews.
Right. I mean, we're talking about extreme dysfunction here, and here's where we fail. We don't call a thing a thing.
No.
That's what Dr. Ian Levanzant would say. Call a thing a thing.
Yeah.
Was it right? Just remove color away from it, because sometimes, like I said before, we get trapped into the old stories, the old things that have happened. It does not serve us well.
Right.
Let's create a new story. Let's just see it from this point of view. If you had animals, for God's sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there is a dog walking in a park and another dog comes and takes that dog's life, we're all would be like, oh my God.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Petition, justice.
Absolutely. Justice. Especially if it was a Yorkshire Terrier and then a pit bull came after it, right?
Thank you.
I mean, Michael Vick, I think, served some time in jail for such offenses. You know what I mean?
Not enough. And no more pets for you either. And don't idolize anyone doing any of that stuff, black or white or anything.
Absolutely. So we just got to kind of figure out, just, we don't
want to get angry. We want to get better.
Molly, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to go talk to my cousins about race. I want you to talk to your cousins about race.
My cousins don't like that I even talk to Jesus because their daddy's a pastor. So good luck with even talking to them. I talk to the ones that believe in ghosts because I'm like, oh, good. Christianity kind of needs you too. The Holy Spirit.
People just miss out on so much fun when you can't.
If you use your brain, you can have a good time here, folks. You can put some pieces together.
Yes.
Discernment.
Molly, remember when you and I had a party? We had a Juneteenth celebration at the pool with cocktails. Wasn't that wonderful?
Now, it was so wonderful.
It was so great.
It was such a relief that you were cool with Jesus, because I'm like, God, this girl is going to think I'm a religious Christian wasp nerd. And she's going to be like, first of all, you're not thin enough to be a wasp. So,
but you know what? You know why we can really get down and do these sorts of things? Because judgment is a poison. Unforgiveness is a poison.
Yeah. We stay above all that.
Idolizing the past is a poison. Yeah. And we have not been taught how to. Many of us, not all of us, because I will say this. I think we have come a long way.
Yeah.
We still have a ways to go.
Of course.
You know what I mean? We do. Giving credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
But when we're still up here talking about, guys, we don't take lives based on color. Come on, humanity. It's time to do it.
Or based on religion, or based on anything. Thou shalt not kill. The end.
We've been in the same conflict for like 1,000 years. I mean, when do we get the lesson?
Yeah. Well, we get the lesson when we decide to stop taking justice for ourselves. The justice is literally supposed to be Jesus's or God's. God is supposed to handle it, because we don't know what the karmic consequences, ramifications, ties. We don't know. Only God knows from the highest of levels what the justice would be. And if we decide the justice, it could be way less than what is actually necessary, but we're choosing to override God delivering a justice, to then us going, well, I don't trust God to deliver the judgment, so I will. And then we create a wonky program out of that too. And that's where we are. We've taken, and we're still with the whole eye for an eye mentality.
Well, you know what? Think about it like this. I mean, what do you think the guys who committed this heinous act, or allegedly committed it, it hasn't been tried before a court, but it is
God-fearing as they should be now.
Right. Well, here's the reality. What kind of troubled soul was this to commit this act?
Oh, yeah. This is nonstop. I mean, imagine filling a train with coal full of hate. And that is what they're running on.
Absolutely. And what created that? See, the reality of it is, exactly. And here's where we have to take a lot of responsibility in what we feed our society.
Yeah.
Here is an example. When you are fed fear, when you eat fear, you drink fear, you surround yourself with ideas that corrupt this program. And then you go outside your door thinking that this is an enemy, and you take action into your own hands.
Right.
And the reality of it is, then we'll have people say, "Oh, well, hurt people hurt people." No, I'm sick of that. Hurt people need to
but let's do
heal.
something about it already. We first of all, we arrest people, we don't rehabilitate them. And then for Corona, we're like, free all the freaking violent criminals for some reason. What?
The reality of it is, I mean, when you have for thousands of years been throwing mud on each other, eventually, just by life, eventually it's gonna come back on us, right?
Jesus just said we live in a sandbox of chaos. Wow. So think about that. Think about it. We live in a realm that is literally crazy on purpose. It is to make us better. It is to give us shit to fix.
Ask him, when is the virus leaving?
Oh, well, he said we're technically a virus too, so be more specific.
No. I'm going to tell you this.
Prophecies say a fourth of the population could be going out right now. So, I mean, use your discernment on whether or not you want to believe this virus is a thing or not. Because while it might be a conspiracy type thing, it's still a thing. And just like Sandy Hook, they think was a conspiracy, children still died that day. 9/11, they say was a conspiracy, which I tend to agree quite a bit on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But same thing, people still died that day. Just because it's a conspiracy doesn't mean it didn't take place.
That's right. And here's the reality of it. When you have now the world sitting at home or afraid to go out, even with restrictions, they're becoming a little bit looser, right? I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh my God, I know.
Right. But when you have this confined space, and now you have more added negativity where we fixed our attention on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that spiritually, Corona is a spiritual correction.
Oh, I completely agree. Absolutely. It's an opportunity. I mean, only God could have done this. We've all been forced into some self-reflection, into some hard times. And not that God wants to punish, but if we are not given those opportunities to self-reflect, we probably will never learn about our own infinite wisdom and connections within ourselves, because we're so consumed by the 3D world and living in it and existing in it and being bombarded with anything but peace and quiet. And then this happens and you're forced into some sort of a solitude to seek answers, and you have to go within in order to do that. And that's when you see and find a connection is actually there, that it really does exist. So while we can look at this as such a horrible thing and like, why are you doing this, God? It's like, you have no idea what a gift this is. If you were to not be in this sandbox of chaos and look at this from the highest perspective, how do you get the humans to pay attention? Well, this is one way.
Let me just tell you.
Very effective.
It's a very effective way.
When I heeded the warning right beforehand, I knew something was coming. I'm pretty sure you did too.
I sensed 2020 had a lot of momentum going into it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
How about we started out almost in a war?
Right. Yeah.
How about Kobe Bryant died the very next month?
Yeah. Yeah. And then conspiracies through the moon, even related to that, just going crazy.
But we all felt the hit when he left, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then right after, the coronavirus. 2020 has been nonstop explosive, right?
Yeah.
And
and then the Microsoft ad with the, the witch trying to do the virtual reality thing.
Hello.
The Satanist one in the name of art.
Hello. Can it get any more bizarre?
Yes, it can.
So I'm
Hold on to your hat.
So I really think that, and you and I have had conversations related to this, I really think that at this time, God is like, okay, listen, you've had enough distractions.
Yeah.
I let you watch the Kardashians for 15 years.
Yep. And while they're a great example of going and achieving your own empire, did it inspire people?
Right.
No.
Absolutely.
It's a drama hate fest.
Absolutely. Then, all of these entertainment figures, these sports figures, the cell phones, the technology.
The demigod idols. Yeah.
We
All
have
distracted.
too much stuff
Yeah.
occupying this
Yeah.
space.
Yes. That's exactly my point. That's exactly what I'm
So,
saying.
and one day he said, every knee shall bow
Yes.
and
And
every
I think
tongue
we're
will
about that
confess.
time.
What'd you say?
I
I'm
said, I think
sorry.
it's about that time. About talking with you is I love, unraveling the mystery of Jesus and the mystery of faith. And I love going back and looking at the sacred texts and trying to understand where we are in the midst of all of that. And when he's supposed to come back and what's that supposed to look like? Because he won't just out and out tell me. He says he's not allowed, and I'm not allowed to know everything or spoil the surprise. But we're part of the second coming. All of his crew team,
Yeah.
which was us, we're the street team. Did you watch the Chosen TV show? Same as that. That's part of the second coming. It's really an accurate portrayal of a relatable version of Jesus versus this depressed, better than thou Shakespearean version of Jesus that's all
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
It's
Full of reverence
everything
and
is about to look a whole lot different,
right,
including Jesus.
right. I mean, Jesus has told me, he's like, I struggled with having to know that I had to die at the end the whole time. So he had a lot of anxiety. So he was telling me in order for him to overcome his anxiety, he had to use a lot of humor, which is a mechanism I use a lot to
Yeah.
comprehend the nonsense of earth. I still,
Well, you
you
know
gotta
what?
just laugh.
We've been taught that Jesus was absolutely holier than thou.
Right. Which he was, but he wasn't an asshole.
Right. But
He didn't walk on water to be like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo. You guys
right.
don't know shit.
I believe Jesus was a comedian.
Yes.
I believe Jesus loved music, all
Yeah.
kinds of music.
Yeah.
I think Jesus liked to hang out in the hood. I mean, look at
Yes.
his disciples.
Yes. Well, you saw his tribe.
Right. Jesus liked to hang out, and I think he was cool.
Yeah.
And I just think he was so powerful, so he did not have to go
Jesus said he wanted his followers. He said he chose anyone that listened, anyone that chose him. He'll choose back. So it's not even that he's choosing people, it's you're choosing first, and then he's inviting you to become a disciple. So we have to, because if you watch the show The Chosen, it shows how he manifested his disciples with like backstories, and it's really, really phenomenal. And I love seeing all their different idiosyncrasies. Like Matthew, the tax collector, is autistic, and I know you're part of the blue light, right? Exactly.
Yes.
So they portray him as autistic and really good in math. And Matthew's Bible is one that is like, he had the most deep understanding of Jesus, of the men. So it really showed his part of the autism spectrum, that he was very introspective and logical on top of it, and then was making sense of Jesus through his gospel. So I love all of that. But yeah, that's part of the second coming. And then, I don't know what Jesus's part is going to look like, but what I'm doing to enhance it is, I do the musical, and then meeting people like you where you're like, oh, I'm cool with Jesus. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because he used to trigger the hell out of me.
Well, you have been actually, you have been like the biggest blessing.
Aww.
Because oftentimes, when you have conversations around spirituality or religion or whatever the label we choose to use to reference the divine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's usually conversation where you're bumping up against, rules and programs. Right. And Jesus is so out of the box for me.
Right.
I tell people all the time, Jesus was a life coach. I believe he was a scientist.
Well, that's what he told me when he showed up. So when he showed up for me in 2015, once again, so I've identified that he was my imaginary friend in childhood, and then actual religion, organized religion, is what drove the wedge between us and made me kind of second guess my own worthiness of him. I was like,
because it wasn't the truth.
Right. So it drove a huge wedge between us. And then when I would tell any of the nuns or anyone that I'm talking to ghosts or anything like that, it was, oh, shut that down. And it was like, oh, what about my friend Ghost? You shut him down too. And it was like, yeah, I made these decisions at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and kept going with them to hide all of this relationship I was having. So in 2015, when Jesus showed up again, I was telling him, I was like, listen, I don't know how to help you. I don't have any money. Like, my business imploded. Your dad killed it. So you can go ask him about it, because it was literally an act of God that went out. So if you want to go ask daddy where my money is, please, by all means do. I said, I'm annoyed that I would love to work with you. I would love to do things for you, but I have no money, and I don't have money for a life coach to teach me money. I remember being really angry that life coaches charged money to teach you how to make money. And it was like, why don't you just tell them how to make money and then sell them something else? So Jesus goes, well, you're in luck. I'm the poor man's coach. And I was like,
wow,
jerk, of course you are. And now you're going to learn from you through the veil with a ghost instead of a human being that can just show me an Excel file of how to be whatever I'm trying to be.
I love your stories of Jesus. You're like my new church. Go ahead.
I'm such a jerk.
I don't know if I'm going to heaven with you, but I really get a chance to learn a different aspect of Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what I love and respect about myself, is I've always questioned why, and I do, even to Jesus. And some days he's like, you are testing me, and I don't even have a physical vessel right now. But he was like, you need to feel worthy. You need to reprogram all of this data. Like, it's imperative. Because I remember when he showed up, I was like, oh God, are you for real, my guide? Like, really? I was hoping, like, I don't know, Ganesha.
But you had like the best one in the world, Molly. I mean,
that's what he was like. He was laughing and he was like, oh, your insults are delightful. Like, you have no idea. And I was like, yeah, tell me. And then he did. And I was like, I'm such a jerk. And he was like, I know. I love you anyway. He's like, I'm going to meet you right where you are, jerk face.
What I love is that you and I could have these conversations about this real, authentic, diehard relationship that we have with Jesus, right? Like, I tell people all the time.
Right. We don't need a podcast. This is
I don't need a podcast. Right. I mean, this would be our conversation over drinks anyway. And, Jesus drank too, because he turned water into wine. So it's not like, but the reality of it is this, we're all redefining life right now. And I think it's kind of, I think as we are looking at everything, like, I think everything should be put on the table right now to see, does this belief work for you or does it not?
Is it serving you? Does your programming serve you? Is it helping you build your empire, or is it helping you destroy others?
And here's how you know if your programming is not working for you. If you're not living in peace,
right, or joy,
right,
right. If you're miserable all the time,
if you're miserable all the time, if your relationships are just upside down and crazy, if you're attracting drama to your life, and if you are broke and broken, and here's the reality of it. If you are, just be honest about it. That means you're a human being.
Right. You can pivot right where you are, but you have to make that decision to do so. And Jesus taught me the flip your vibe technique right when he showed up, because he kept telling me, and God has been telling me too, you don't want to manifest from a shit vibration, because you're not in alignment with it. So you're not going to get what you're asking for, because what you're asking for resides on a higher vibration, most likely. If you're asking for money or success or, a good idea or wealth or purpose or whatever, it's going to be on a much higher plane, like joy, passion, purpose, all of those levels. And if you're down in anxiety and anger, those are really low vibrational frequencies that you're manifesting from and pulling energy from. And it's not in alignment with what you want. So you're going to burn your energy out, and then you're going to manifest more things to be angry about. So we need to get to a higher plane. So that's when Jesus was teaching me the flip your vibe technique, because even he was telling me, Molly, you can't manifest this podcast. You can't manifest the book, the podcast, which I didn't know any of these things were in the ethers. But he was telling me, Molly, I know you think you have anxiety because you have PTSD. However, it is way later than being 9. You're not 9 anymore. So I get that you still think you are, and you still think all those things are going on, but it's whatever year it was. It was, 5 years ago. So I was 30 something. But he was saying, you have to flip your vibe. So, and in order to do so he was saying you were identifying with anxiety. He said, what is the flip of anxiety? Excitement. They feel exactly the same way. He was like, imagine it's the day before Christmas. You have anxiety and excitement right before bed, right? It feels exactly the same. You have anxiety thinking, what am I going to get? Am I going to get what I asked for? Was I good? You have all of these questions. It's the same as manifesting. That's worry. And then you're thinking you're not worthy of it. So you might kill your manifestation. But then the excitement is, I'm going to go to bed and I have a feeling I got what I wanted or whatever. And it's a much better feeling. Excitement's so much better. So in order for me to manifest the podcast and the musical and to even get in alignment with receiving any of those downloads, I had to flip my vibe to a much higher level where all those things reside. Very much how like Esther Hicks talks about being in the vortex. That's my vortex. Your vortexes are on high energy planes.
That's right. But you know what? I guarantee you, what church taught you that?
None.
What religious institution
None.
taught you that?
Himself.
Right. But but that's the conflict because
right.
when you
learn religion, they taught me very little.
Right.
Yeah.
They taught you the five. So, we've had this conversation. We're only taught to use 5% of our brain.
Right.
That's the part that, right. That's the part that's programmed your conscious brain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they taught you the rules and the rituals to keep you programmed.
Oh, I know.
And you're programmed to be powerless.
I know because so I was excited the first day I showed up at this scary ass creepy, there's, grave sites on campus when I was in second grade going to the Carmel Mission in Monterey, California. And it was the scariest experience ever to show up there. But I figured, I was like, well, I'm going to learn how to turn water into wine. I'm going to learn how to walk on water. They're going to teach me all the things. And then we're reading James and the Giant Peach. And I'm like, what the hell is this shit? Where's Jesus?
Where is this guy? Look.
Go wake him up.
I'm tired of learning about him. Where is he? Come on.
I'm like, my parents are paying a lot of money for me to be here. Where are the miracles?
Hello.
Like, I have my wedding dress on. I'm marrying Jesus today. What are we learning?
And you know what? What's so interesting about this, Molly? Now I think he was a wealth coach.
Right.
Jesus came here.
How to fish. I'll teach you how to be fishers of men.
I'm telling you. He was giving. That's a wealth coach.
That is a wealth coach for sure.
He was a scientist and a wealth coach.
Absolutely. And those in power didn't want everyone to know that. And now it's like, well, thank God the Akashic records have now manifested into the web of internet that we now get to look on and find all the things and order all the things before they burn all the things and hide all the things again. They're not going to ever be able to again. It's all been exposed way too much. And the prophecy said that. They said the truth will come out and there will be no stopping it.
And the truth is designed to set us all free. So, Corona forced us to go in and evaluate the reality that we're living in.
Right. You
can't show us the lies of the program. Right.
And you cannot live in faith and fear at the same time. So that's another flip your vibe. You must choose one or the other. If Jesus lived in fear, he would never have been able to succeed at his mission. He had to live in faith. He had to get every single next footstep. And you can't do that living in fear because who's on the other line of fear? Lucy.
That's right.
Who's on the other side of faith? God, a creator.
So and here's what people have to do. We have to focus on spiritual health and wellness.
Yes.
That
will shift everything.
Here's the bottom line. You know how you get a new cell phone? Mm-hmm. Now, when I buy my cell phone, I only need it for these purposes. So this is the only thing I'm going to learn. Mm-hmm. I'm going to text. I'm going to look at my email. Mm-hmm. I have to do a Zoom meeting, maybe a few games, and of course I got to order from Amazon.
That's so funny. No, I look at my phone can I run my empire from this thing? Sweet, I can.
What? So you understand how to use your phone a whole lot better than I do mine, right? Yeah. Our bodies are 1,000 times more powerful than a cell phone.
Oh, I know, and I hardly know how to use it. Yeah.
Been taught how to use this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been programmed, but not taught how to use it.
Right.
And
Well,
so
we
that is
program that we always need a middleman. We need a doctor to heal us, which,
Yep.
oh my God, I am not saying God didn't create doctors, educate doctors, and make doctors. But over every little thing, you can heal yourself. You can heal yourself with good thoughts. You're like a living placebo effect. So if you are feeling like you got a cold or something that your body can build up an immunity or overcome, or depression or whatever, I mean, it gives you an opportunity to command your body to start being better, and you can start seeing the placebo effect of your own belief. And I mean, they've even done studies, doctors have done studies where they've given the antidote medicine to someone and then a placebo, and both parties healed a lot of the time. So it's a lot of our body don't understand at all how it works. And I mean, it's magical. It's very, very, very magical.
Well, Molly, when you think about this, right? Now, when you go over to the other side called New Age thought, okay, New Age teaches you how to, and you know what, let me just take this away from New Age. I don't even want to put a label on it, okay? Because science, they all have their story, New Age. So let's just say this. When you're taught to meditate, still your mind, right? Visualize. So now you are visualizing what the future is. You speak it into existence.
Right. Yep.
Then you believe and you receive it. Then you leave it right there and surrender it. And just somehow out of nowhere, at some point, it shows up.
Right.
Now, here's the reality. That's if you don't have all of that subconscious garbage up there. Okay. That's how it all happens. But here is the thing. Jesus taught us that in his walk. Jesus came down here. He didn't have all of those worries and doubts. He was like, I don't know if I'm a good Jesus or not. I don't know if I have power.
Yeah.
He didn't fear anybody. He saw the good in us. But here's where the miracle took place. People looked at Jesus and believed what he saw in them.
Right. Yeah.
And they received it and they were healed because they believed in that power. Same thing. He was just teaching us. He was a scientist and a life coach. Or not. I don't know if I have power.
Yeah.
He didn't fear anybody. He saw the good in us. But here's where the miracle took place. People looked at Jesus and believed what he saw in them.
Right. Yeah.
And they received it and they were healed because they believed in that power. Same thing. He was just teaching us. He was a scientist and a life coach.
Right. Exactly. I know. Like what I said earlier when I've asked him, what was the biggest part of the difficulty of the first coming? Because he was telling me the first coming, he had to do that so that we would know about him, and he had to complete. First of all, he had to fulfill that stupid manifestation that we demanded God sacrifice and kill a child, kill his offspring or whatever. And then, so he had to fulfill that because we've demanded it. It's in our books. God, no, I'm sorry. Just come on. God would never have had that all manifest. We, with our free will, manifested that. And then he had to come satiate it and then be like, enough, please stop with the killing. And, so he showed up to do all of that and had to have a completely human experience for it to be relatable. So he had to search and look for God also and feel that disconnect here. But then, he was born of a mother that luckily knew of his purpose and supported him. Otherwise, I don't know how he would have believed any of it.
Well, here's what we know for sure is that when you think you've already blew it. The one thing about God is that as beautiful of a creation that we all are, we were not designed to figure it all out.
No, we actually don't have to figure any of it out.
We
the
don't
is up to God.
This is a joy ride. At the end of the day, life is a joy ride. It is an adventure. It is a dance with God to reveal who he really or she or it is. Put your own label, but it's a dance. And sometimes it's going to be like a nice slow dance. And sometimes it's going to be a party. And sometimes it's going to be a ferocious tango. You better figure out how to do this dance. And if you learn how to dance with God the right way, you'll get to joy. You'll get to happiness. You'll get to peace, fulfillment, wealth, all of your dreams will come true. If you stop focusing on why we're all different and get mad at shit you can't control.
Right.
I can't make you black. You can't make me white. Let me just love you for how you were created. Because I find you to be a very interesting consciousness. And the reason why I love you is because you have not made the world program. You have not allowed the world to program you into believing something about me that just isn't true.
Oh, thank you, honey. No, I never would. I don't blindly believe anything or and that's another thing I guess I like about myself. I've always allowed myself to form my own opinion. And whether I have consciously thought about that, it's something I've always felt within me. If someone gave me information, I could literally feel like there's more to this. And then I'll go investigate almost to spite the information and then learn more about this person that I end up falling in love with. So that's how I have always been. And I really love that that's how it's always manifested. I love that you said it's a dance with God, because and if you know how to dance, because if you know how to tango, you know how to tango. If you know how to dance with God, you know how to dance with God. And one of the things that you said was we don't have to worry about the how. Well, some of the steps of dancing with God is you need to know what you want and why you want it. And God figures out the when and the how. So who, we don't know the who's yet. We can say who we'd like to work with, but God will deliver the who's. So it's kind of, think about who, but you won't know who it is until God sends it. But when you're manifesting or sending a prayer, which are the exact same things, sending out an intention and sending out a prayer are the same freaking thing.
Yes.
Different words. But if you send out an intention and ask for something in faith, I mean, the scripture says this too, then you shall receive some form of it. You shall receive it. So what is our dance moves with God? So my dance moves are getting clear on what I want, who I'd like to be involved, which is flexible. So what I want is pretty defined with some flexibility. I always say this or something better. And then the who is the same thing. These are who I want, this or something better. And then the when is divine timing. So that's God.
Right.
The how it's going to happen is divine instrument, which is God.
Trust the process.
I don't have access to everyone in the universe. God does.
Right.
So
and trust that it's going to be the best process for you.
Right. Yeah. So that's how you dance with God. And then another way to dance with God is understand the laws of the universe. So understand karma, understand the law of compensation, the law of, mentalism, the law of vibration, the law of focus, which the law of attraction is within the law of focus. And the law of focus is whatever you focus on will become the center of your attention, which I mean, come on, that's literally the definition is the law. Whatever you focus on is what you're focusing on.
It's actually a scripture in the Bible that says, ask and it is given unto thee.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So once all of the people bring their stories together, like there was a book called The Word, and then there was some science around it. Jesus understood the laws of the universe.
Right.
He was a divine connection, right? He's divine spirit that knew the power of who he was. Right. If we bring all that together, we'll have the real Jesus. He's a life coach.
Right, exactly.
What I'm doing, I've found my purpose in life after all of this story, after I fixed all of my broken pieces. I was like, okay, it's time for me to go help other people fix their broken pieces. But
not all your broken pieces, because there's really no end to healing. I've fixed a lot of my pieces, but it will be endless things to do here on healing.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you'll have no work to do.
I teach people how to leverage their pain.
Perfect.
What does that mean? What that means is when you walk the planet, you're going to get hit by pain. Yep. You're either going to be bullied. If you get married, you may get a divorce. You're certainly going to go through life. Somebody's going to betray you. I mean, this is just kind of what comes with life, right? But here's the thing. Right. Now, here's the thing. Once you go through that pain, there's a gift on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But some of us are too afraid to go through the pain, or when we go through it, we've gotten a lot of misinformation about it and we haven't processed it. Right. And pain, just like anything else, if you do not process it, it becomes a deep a toxic agent. It lives within you.
A dis-ease.
Yes, and it will invade your mind and your heart, and you'll start creating all kinds of patterns and situations that you find yourself in that destroys your life.
It creates a hell on earth, and it can destroy your physical body. And Jesus said, and if you die with all of that, you have to transmute it through the other side without a body, which is even harder, or you'll end up reincarnating with all of that to clear it up yet again. So it's imperative to reach out to people like Latrice and say, hey, baby,
I help you process it so you can live the life you always wanted to live. And maybe that one you were created to live, but you got so much shit in there, you can't get to your life.
Yeah.
Let me help you.
A lot of people aren't aware of their shit. They've been dragging it for so long. They're like, oh, this old thing. And it's like, yes, that thing.
And they've been taught
to. Yeah.
They've been taught to live with pain. So that's what I do. I help you take back your life from pain so you can become your best. Yeah.
Think of pain and trauma as a heavy suitcase you just pull around everywhere.
Right.
I mean, how fun is that? You're like, why do I carry this everywhere? And it's like, and Jesus is like, put your cross down. Put it down.
Yes. And here's the thing. I also want people to understand that spiritual health is so important. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about the Jesus that you just go see on Sundays and then you act like a bat out of hell all week.
All my sins, week restart.
No, I'm not talking about you check them off the list. I'm talking about you living with him day to day. And I want to show people how to, achieve that for their life.
I love that. Yeah. Well, I know you got to get on your call, but I want to have you back on and have you talk more about what you're doing, your story, and your organization. So I'll have you on the show once again. But if you want to reach out to Latrice is, I mean, she's helping kids with bullying. She's helping adults with bullying that have, past trauma with bullying. She's a beautiful vessel, beautiful light of empowerment. She doesn't see color. She doesn't see race or creed. She just wants to see the best in you and be the best of her. And that's one of the things I love about her so much. Latrice, thank you so much for coming on the show today on Let's Be Frank.
So much fun.
Thank you, honey. Thank you so much. I love you so much. So her links are in the bio. Please check out some of her websites, her social links, and see what she's up to. She's also, I mean, you do some therapy stuff, like multi-level marketing type stuff. And I know there's all sorts of stuff on that one, but some of them are really, really good. doTERRA is a fantastic one. There's one that you found that was really great with some arthritis stuff and healing stuff. Yes. And I think that's just incredible stuff. So I want to hear more about that. And I know you're helping women get hair so that they feel confident and beautiful.
Absolutely. So you can be stuck in the house, but you look good, and you don't have to pay a fortune to do so.
Yeah.
That's right.
Perfect.
That's right.
I know you're multifaceted. There's so much more to you, and we'll have you back on the show again, and we'll talk even deeper, more about your past and more about what you're up to. And
you know what? This is what I was created to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love you, sister. Get on your call and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, honey?
Okay. All right. Love you.
Thank you so much. Bye, sweetie.